Hey, it's May 6th. Welcome on into Daily Cards Live here on ClaibsOnline.com, presented by Mungan St. Louis Acura and Royal Banks of Missouri. I'm Joe Roderick, and coming to you live from Ballparks National, it's Bob Ramsey. Rammer, hopefully the weather's a little nicer out there at Ballparks National than it is here in St. Louis.
We're AstroTurf. We play, Joe. That's why
Very-
you got to get your team down here and quit messing around. The kids don't want to be rained out at Ballparks National. They're never rained out.
Very nice. You guys have a full weekend of games ahead. So let's talk to you about the games in Major League Baseball and specifically the Cardinals. First of all, if you are looking for some Friday night baseball to watch, as the Cardinal game is the last one that will go off tonight, 9:15 Central Time. 5 games in Major League Baseball have already been postponed today. They will be made up as double headers tomorrow. Blue Jays at Guardians, Rangers at Yankees, Mets at Phillies, Royals at Orioles, Dodgers at Cubs. So those are 5 games that have already been postponed. So so only 10 games tonight on a Friday night on the Major League Baseball schedule. The Cardinals win last night by a score of 7-1. Rammer, it was one of those games where you go to bed, it's 3-1, and you wake up the next morning and you look at your phone and you go, God, I hope the bullpen held on. And actually the Cardinals got a little insurance later on in the game.
It was a very entertaining game. Cardinals swinging the bats, making a lot of contact. 7 strikeouts. In today's game, that's pretty good. Couple of walks. You'd like those numbers to be a little closer, but not a big deal when you had 12 hits. You had a home run. You had 3 or 4 doubles. Guys knocking it around the yard. As alarmed as we were, even as recently as 4 or 5 days ago, at the batting averages and on base percentages, you look now, and the water's starting to seep to its own level. You're starting to see some of the numbers coming around.
Yeah, Harrison Bader 0 for 4 last night in the game, but he was sandwiched between Juan Yepes, Yadier Molina, and Dylan Carlson, all who gathered 2 hits on the game. And Tyler O'Neill as well, 2 hits for him as a guy that had been struggling a little bit, but he drops down in the lineup. And now maybe flipping around the protection for Arenado and making that O'Neill. Maybe that works for the both of them in a little bit of a better way, as Arenado walks twice now, as they're putting the pressure on O'Neill now to get hits.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think they tried to get the hot guys hot, and now he's catching up. And I think the 2, 3, 4 hitters, as the season goes on, you could move around. But Goldschmidt has really established himself in as the perfect 2-hitter in modern day baseball. And then the 3-4 thing can shift around. If you remember last year, Arenado started out 3, then he flip-flopped with O'Neill and they took off. I think those things will be movable a little bit depending on who's hot and who's not, who are making the matchups. I expect Pujols to go again tonight against Alex Cobb. Edman, last year I said it. I don't blame anybody for not listening, but I said it all along. He has to be hot to be a good leadoff guy. But now he's starting to draw walks. 5 weeks into the season, he's drawing walks and maybe making last year's narrative negated, that he's just a leadoff guy with pop, period. And perhaps that's what we're seeing.
Rammer, yesterday in the game, Paul DeJong went 0 for 4. His average now down to 119 on the season, as he played well defensively, made a few good plays out in the field behind Miles Michaelis and
Very
others,
good.
but 119, you might as well have a pitcher hitting there. That's how bad it's starting to get for Paul DeJong. How much longer do you look at that and you go, you know what, the glove's just not isn't outweighing the bat?
I think you have some options, and I think as not as a semi-permanent solution, but hey, tonight, take a break. Let's put Sosa out there. And then depending on how that goes, you might be a couple of weeks away from thinking about if it were me, I'm trying to think about what the Cardinals would do if it were me. I'd have Edman taking ground balls at shortstop already.
I was
Probably
just
a
going
month
to
ago.
ask. Yeah, I was
Probably
just
a
going
month
to
ago.
ask at what point do you put Edman in a game at shortstop?
Well, like I say, if it were me, he'd have been working out there already and I'd have a better feel for it. The Cardinals are showing extreme patience. So we're probably weeks away from that. We'll see.
Yeah, that's one I just at some point you throw him out there for a game and you think maybe this is one where you can get away with it. You don't have him getting too many balls hit his way. I don't know what
Well,
the
there's no reason why he can't play big league shortstop.
you wouldn't think so. He's done it twice, I believe. He did it twice in 2020. It's not a position that he has played, but I think, and I've said it before,
he was a starting shortstop in college. He knows how to play shortstop. The question is the different throw. Do you worry about his arm a little bit? Maybe that's why I would have been working him out. There's no doubt he can play shortstop. I mean, come on. You've been playing the ball game. You've been playing. I said this the other day. You've been playing your game the whole life. You can't play every position. Give me a break. Of course, you can play shortstop.
The Cardinals tonight will have Jordan Hicks making yet another start. We'll see how many pitches they have him throw tonight. If he's on, how long they will stretch him out. But speaking of pitching, the Giants last night used 1, 2, 3, 4,
9.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9 pitchers. 9 pitchers, Rammer, in 9 innings of a baseball game. As you go and you look at the pitch count of all of these guys, if 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them threw 15 pitches or less. So you would think their arms are not going to be taxed that much. But game 1 of a 4-game series, if you're the Cardinals, one thing you love to see is that their entire bullpen pitched yesterday.
Well, for sure you get no surprises the rest of the series on, hey, what's this guy throw? We've seen them all now, baby.
The opener, you and I were texting about it last night. We didn't realize that's, the way the Giants were kind of handling things these days. Tonight, it's Alex Cobb on the mound, a guy that's been around for quite a while. But I do wonder what their approach is going to be heading into the game.
What you want to do is force their hand and beat up the starter. That's what you want to do. Pujols and Arenado have good numbers against him, but that's about it. I think the only other at bat, if I recall, is Corey Dickerson, an 0 for 1. So I think you just got to go out there and do what they've been doing and attack. Don't overswing. Square it up, hit the ball hard, and put the pressure on. And you need to go after their starters. Yep.
As you look last night at the Cardinals side of things, as the Giants had to go through 9 pitchers yesterday, Miles Mikolas again pitches into the 6th inning. His ERA on the season is 1.53. A guy that it is so amazing to look back at the first week of the season, the first time through the rotation, you go, oh my God, we're in so much trouble. What are we going to do with these pitchers? We should have gone out and we should have gotten a starter. What were they thinking? And now you look at it, and you go, oh, okay, Steven Matz can pitch. Dakota Hudson's getting ground balls. Miles Mikolas is back to 2019 Miles Mikolas. Okay, you know what? Maybe the front office knew what they were doing, and in the words of Tony La Russa, it was the first week of the season.
Well, some people weren't jumping off the cliff. I won't say who that is. But even though things are going, you can't get caught up in when things are going bad or when they're going good. Just because the rotations looks okay doesn't mean I wouldn't rather have Max Scherzer in it.
Well, that's completely different here.
He was available. You said, why didn't we go get anybody? I agree. They should have got Scherzer.
I do think that there are guys out there that they should be looking at and picking up another arm. You know what? I mean, when you get into July and you're looking at, I don't care how good Jordan Hicks is throwing in that starter role, you're telling me that come August and September, you wouldn't rather have him pitching in the 7th or 8th inning every game than the first 4 innings every 5th day?
It depends on how it goes. I don't know what he's capable of as a starter. I really don't. And then, Matthew Liberatore is pitching very well. And just as we saw last year, trying to predict what the staff is, how they're going to perform in 2 weeks, much less 2 months. It's almost impossible to predict.
I'm going to put it on the radar here on May 6th, Rammer. I don't know when it's too early to be talking about our trade deadline wish list, but I would like to see the Cardinals somehow come into acquiring Madison Bumgarner at the trade deadline.
I'd like a bigger upgrade than that, but okay, I'd take him.
I'm throwing it out there. Reports are he's not the happiest out there in Arizona right now, and that he's looking for he might want out. So you know what? Very, very friendly contract too. When you look at beyond this year, so it's just a guy to have in there, a proven winner that knows how to pitch in the postseason.
I wouldn't mind having him. He's not an ace anymore, but I wouldn't mind having him.
Yeah, you know what? You just need guys that can pitch into the postseason. You don't need not every guy can be Max Scherzer. Okay. Not everybody can. I'm looking at who's out there, and I'm trying to be reasonable here. I'm not trying to spend $40 million on one arm.
Well, we've gone in a big spiral here. You were talking about in the first week of the season, they should have signed somebody. I'm telling you who they should have signed. Then the rest of the conversation would be moot. Now you're saying what will happen coming forward? I think you'd have to have a disaster for a deal like that to be made, because Liberatore and others will get looks first. And if all those fail, then maybe something by the trade deadline.
Andre Palante, Nick Whitgren, and Cody Whitley all came in and pitched well last night too. Yeah. All of their ERAs also below 2. So the Cardinals are quickly figuring out who they can rely on in that bullpen. And you saw him last night again. It's nice to get a win when you don't have to use Giovanni Gallegos in a closing situation, or Ryan Helsley.
Well, that's the thing. If fans are looking for drama, and I know you always are, Joe, the who's going to close out games if it's a closed situation this weekend? Would it be, let's say they go to Gallegos tonight, would he go again tomorrow if it's a closing situation? Or is that Helsley? Or flip it? Or whose hair would be on fire if there were 2 closing situations, let's say tonight and Sunday, and the same guy got both the closing opportunities? Now we have people losing their minds.
I'm not worried about all that drama in the Cardinal games this weekend. I'm seeing Doctor Strange tonight, and then I'm finishing up Ozark after that. So that's all the drama I'm going to need this weekend for my entertainment. The Cardinal games, they could just win 7-1 the next 3 days, and I'll be just fine. Before going into, I'm telling you right now too. I'm going to tell you this early. I'm already calling for a sweep against Baltimore next week.
Okay, you make that call.
Rammer, we are brought to you each and every day by Munganess St. Louis Acura, and also your friends at the Royal Banks of Missouri.
They're everybody's friend, Royal Banks of Missouri. If you're in St. Louis, Northeast Missouri, or on the east side in Granite and Jerseyville, Royal Banks is there for you, 314-212-1500. Don't forget, as these rates climb, you're always going to get the best rate at Royal Banks of Missouri. To where better service means better banking.
For our friends that are viewing this live, Rammer, I don't know how often we're going to get this shot, but what is that poster over your left shoulder?
It's an autograph, Lou Brock, Ricky Henderson.
Ooh, very nice. It looked like guys running. I just couldn't make it out from here.
It shows them both in their first steps off of first base, stealing second, and it's autographed. Very nice poster.
That is. Rammer, enjoy your weekend at the Lake of the Ozarks down at Ballpark National.
Get your team down here.
I'll be watching the Ozarks later on tonight, so it'll be I'll think of you when that's on. He's Bob Ramsey. I'm Joe Roderick. You can catch Rammer also on Claibs Online with Two-Man Game, getting you ready for the NBA playoffs this weekend. And all of it is right here on ClaibsOnline.com.
At St. Louis Acura, we have over 330 pre-owned vehicles of all makes and models, and all of them are covered by our St. Louis Acura Promise and backed by our Better Business Bureau A+ rating and 30 years in business. We also service all makes and models of vehicles, including glass and bumper repair, paint touch-ups, and full mechanical services from one of our 24 technicians. St. Louis Acura, better than ever for you, no matter what vehicle drives you.